The air in the living room was thick with the scent of lavender candles, their flames flickering like nervous heartbeats. I stood frozen, my daughter Lily's crayon drawing crumpled in my fist, its cheerful stick figures mocking the storm raging inside me. The paper wasn't just a child's scribble. It was a confession, a jagged tear in the fabric of my marriage. Lily, only 6, had drawn her mother, Sarah, holding hands with a man who wasn't me. A man with a red baseball cap, smiling under a tree. My stomach churned as I stared at the waxy lines, the innocence of her art clashing with the betrayal it unveiled. Sarah was upstairs, humming softly as she folded laundry. The sound, once comforting, now grated like a blade on bone. I wanted to scream, to storm up there and demand answers, but my legs felt cemented to the floor. Doubt gnawed at me. Maybe it was nothing. Kids imagine things. Lily could have drawn a neighbor, a friend, a figment of her overactive mind. But the red cap. I'd seen it before, hadn't I? On Mark, Sarah's coworker, the one who always lingered too long at our barbecues. His laugh too loud. His eyes too familiar. I forced myself to breathe, the air catching in my throat like broken glass. The house was quiet except for Sarah's humming and the distant tick of the kitchen clock. Lily was at her grandmother's, safe from whatever this was about to become. I smoothed the drawing on the coffee table, my fingers trembling. The man's smile in the picture felt like a taunt, a secret I wasn't supposed to know. I needed to confront her, but how? What if I was wrong? What if I wasn't? Ben. Sarah's voice floated down the stairs, soft and unsuspecting. You okay down there? My heart lurched. Her tone was so normal, so warm it made me question everything. Could she really be cheating? Sarah, who packed my lunches with little notes, who cried during rom-coms, who promised forever under a starlit sky 7 years ago. I swallowed the bile rising in my throat and called back. Yeah, just looking at Lily's art. Her footsteps padded down the stairs, light and carefree. Each step tightened the knot in my chest. When she appeared in the doorway, her auburn hair catching the candlelight, she looked like the woman I loved. But her smile faltered when she saw my face. What's wrong? She asked, her voice dipping with concern. Or was it guilt? I held up the drawing, my hand steady despite the chaos inside. Who's this, Sarah? My voice was low, controlled, but it trembled at the edges. Her eyes flicked to the paper, and for a split second, something crossed her face. Fear, maybe, or recognition. It was gone before I could be sure. She laughed, a little too brightly. Oh, that's just Lily's imagination at work. You know how she is. Always making up stories. She stepped closer, reaching for the drawing, but I pulled it back. Red cap, I said, my voice harder now. Looks a lot like Mark's, doesn't it? Her lips parted, but no sound came out. The silence was deafening, a void where trust used to live. She recovered quickly, too quickly, her hand brushing my arm. Ben, come on. It's a drawing. You're reading too much into it. Am I? I searched her eyes, desperate for the truth, but all I saw was a flicker of something I couldn't name. Doubt crept in again, whispering that I was paranoid, that I was destroying us over a child's doodle. But then I remembered the late nights at work, the way her phone buzzed more often, how she'd angle the screen away from me. Small things, easily dismissed, until they weren't. Tell me I'm wrong, I said, my voice breaking. Tell me there's nothing going on. Her gaze dropped to the floor, and that was when I knew. The room spun, the lavender scent turning sickly sweet. My knees buckled, but I caught myself on the arm of the couch. How long? I whispered. Ben, it's not. She reached for me, but I stepped back, the distance between us a chasm now. How long? I repeated louder, the words raw and jagged. She pressed her lips together, tears welling in her eyes. It was a mistake, she said finally, her voice barely audible. A few months. It didn't mean anything. Few months. The words hit like a fist, each syllable a betrayal. I saw it all in my mind. Her with him, laughing, touching, sharing pieces of herself that were supposed to be mine. My vision blurred, Not with tears but with rage, heartbreak, and something darker I couldn't name. "Lily saw you," I said, holding up the drawing again. "Our daughter saw you with him." Sarah's face crumpled and she sank onto the couch, her hands covering her mouth. "I didn't know," she sobbed. "I swear, Ben, I never meant for her to." "Stop." I couldn't hear it. Not her excuses, not her tears. The room felt too small, the walls closing in. I wanted to break something, to scream, to rewind time and unsee that damn drawing. Instead, I stood there, numb, as the woman I loved unraveled before me. The next hour was a blur of accusations and confessions. She admitted to meeting Mark after work, to stolen moments in his car, to lies I'd never questioned. Each word was a knife, carving away the life we'd built. But beneath the anger, guilt gnawed at me too. Had I been too distant? Too focused on work, on bills, on everything but her? Could I have stopped this? I sent her upstairs, needing space to think. The house was silent again, but the quiet was suffocating. Paced, my mind racing. I could forgive her maybe, for Lily's sake. We could rebuild, pretend this never happened. But the image of that red cap burned in my mind, and I knew trust was a ghost now, impossible to resurrect. Then I saw her phone on the coffee table, forgotten in the chaos. My hands shook as I unlocked it. Her password was still our anniversary. The messages with Mark were there, a thread of intimacy that made my skin crawl. But one stood out, sent just yesterday. "I can't keep doing this. Ben deserves better." My heart stopped. Not because of the affair, but because of what came next. Mark's reply. "Then leave him. We'll figure it out." She was going to leave me. The realization hit harder than the betrayal itself. I wasn't just a fool, I was disposable. Something snapped inside me, a quiet, dangerous shift. I didn't want revenge, not exactly, but I wanted her to feel the weight of what she'd done. I didn't confront her again. Instead, I waited. The next morning, I kissed her forehead as she slept, the gesture mechanical, empty. I drove to Mark's office, the red cap on his desk like a beacon. I didn't yell or fight. I just handed him the drawing, watched his face pale and said, "Lily saw you. Everyone will know soon." By evening, whispers had spread. Small towns talk fast. Sarah's colleagues, our neighbors, even Lily's school. The affair was no longer a secret. Sarah's tear-streaked face when she came home told me she knew. "What did you do?" she whispered, her voice broken. "I didn't lie," I said, my tone cold. "You did." She left that night, her suitcase half-packed, her apologies drowned in sobs. I didn't stop her. Lily would stay with me, safe from the wreckage. As the door closed behind Sarah, I felt no victory, only a hollow ache. I destroyed her world, but mine was in ruins too.